Hey guys, what would it be like if you could last 10 times longer when you're having sex?
We are going to teach you how to gain massive confidence as a lover, all without performance anxiety, gimmicks, or prescription.
This course is perfect for you if you've ever been mortified by a sexual encounter that ended way too early.
Or if you've ever avoided intimacy out of fear that you won't last as long as your lover desires. Or maybe you long to give your partner multiple orgasms but can't last long enough to make that a reality.
Well, good news, we've got your back, and it's in our course, Last 10 Times Longer. Go to sexreimagine.com/last dash the number 10 X dash longer.
And for all of our favorite listeners out there, we are giving you a discount, 20% off, y'all. Just put in podcast 20, all caps, podcast 20 to get your 20% off of this phenomenal course that you're going to want to review more than once.
We cannot wait to see you inside this course. Plus, don't forget, we always got tons of bonuses. See you there.
What if the size of your confidence had nothing to do with the size of your ego and everything to do with empowerment? Today, we're diving into a conversation most people still shy away from, but our guest is leading the charge in changing that. William Moore is the founder of PhalloFILL, the #1 non-surgical penile growth enhancement procedure in North America. With over 20 years in men's aesthetics and wellness, he's worked with top urologists, trained medical professionals across the country, and helped thousands of men reclaim not just size, but confidence, connection, and control. So we are so thrilled to have William Moore with us today. Welcome to the Sex Reimagine podcast. Thank you so much for all your amazing likes, shares, and subscribes. Please keep them coming. You're here with your host, Dr. Willa Brown, that's me, and Leah Piper.
Hey there, friends. This is such an important topic. It's something that comes up in my private sessions with men time and time and time again. The insecurity of, am I big enough? So tune in, turn on. This is an important one. Let's fall in love together with Mr. William Moore.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagine podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me here.
We're so thrilled. Yes. So tell us how you got started on this journey. I mean, what made you become the #1 penile enhancement?
Well, if we go far back to like the year of 2009, 2010, I was seeking men's enhancement procedures for myself. This was before I was involved in them at work at all. I owned med spas, and I was very familiar with body contouring, with cool sculpting, and I taught that for Allergan for a while, and I did facial injections or neurotoxins and dermal fillers and laser resurfacing and all kinds of laser procedures. But I, as a man, had some insecurities about the size of myself, and it was related directly to a comment that someone made one time out of anger. And sometimes those comments they happen fairly often, actually, and they can stick with you. That could be one reason that somebody may want to change their bodies, or there could be other reasons, but that was the reason that I began to look for this for myself. And back in 2009, 2010, there weren't great options. And I actually did have a fat grafting procedure that was unsuccessful. I had the suspensory ligament dissection, which was unsuccessful.
Tell our audience what that is.
So the suspensory ligament dissection is there's a ligament that holds the penis in and attached to the body. And when a man has an erection, it's what makes it stand up straight and makes it not flop around. And the idea is that you can dissect or cut that suspensory ligament, and it allows the penis to hang out of the body. So it actually is only longer, flaccid. It doesn't really make your erection any longer when it's erect. So all you do is you lose your ability to sort of control it. Mine grew back. It didn't stay dissected. And so that's the reason I said that it was an unsuccessful procedure. And I followed the post-care instructions. You're supposed to wear this stretcher for 6 months. It stretches the ligaments so that they can't touch and they can't regrow. But I had a mind of their own, and my suspensory ligament regrew as well. So I did a couple things for myself that were unsuccessful. And I was injecting the P shot, I was actually the very first person, Dr. Charles Runnels. He's the one who owns and created the P shot. And I think probably everyone has heard of that. I was doing a training for vampire facelift.
Actually, I'll interrupt you for just a minute
Mhm.
because I don't know that everyone knows what the P
Yeah.
shot is.
Let's explain.
So
Okay, well, let's
let's
talk
make
about
sure
that.
our audience who may be hearing about it for the first time.
So the P shot was originally called the Pripus shot after the Greek god, and so it was shortened to the P shot. But basically, we draw your blood from your arm, and we process it down in a centrifuge, and we collect what's called platelet-rich plasma, which is the growth factors that allow your body to heal whenever you have an injury. So if you scuff your knee, and you sometimes see that yellowy haze, the film that builds on top of that, that's actually your body sending platelets to repair that injury. It's not an infection, as a lot of times people think, oh, it's getting infected. That's actually your platelet poor plasma that has platelet-rich plasma inside. And basically it creates a cascade of healing effects, and it grows new tissue. And that is what allows your body to heal, is these platelet-rich plasma, and platelet-poor plasma that is on top of your injury. So we draw the blood, we process out the platelet-rich plasma from the blood. We draw that off at the top of the test tube after the processing has been done. And then we inject it into the corpora of the penis and into the glands of the penis. And the idea in the beginning was that it was going to give size, that those platelets were going to make your penis grow. In actuality, that never happened. But what did happen was it did make the penis perform better and gave it better sensitivity. So if someone was aging because of some plaque or type 2 diabetes, or they were just older and they had low testosterone and they had lost some sensitivity, there's a lot of things that can be repaired, corrected, rejuvenated, if you will, using platelet-rich plasma. We also use it in the face. You've heard it called the vampire facelift in the face.
Yeah.
And you may have heard it called the O shot, for orgasm shot for women.
Mhm.
And so it's all the same preparation of blood that's processed out, and the platelet-rich plasma is extracted, and then it's put back into the body in different places.
And
So
with-
I was doing the P shot.
With the O shot, is that's going into the clitoral body, like the legs and the shaft and the head?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it also going to the vestibular bulbs or just the shaft, the head, and the legs? Do you know exactly where they're putting
In the female you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I just know that it's injected directly into the clitoris.
Okay. But
Yeah, Beth, it's all put there.
So it
And so
probably
it
goes into the
moves, and
vestibular
it does travel. It
Mhm.
doesn't just stay exactly where you
So
put it.
now you were the first one to receive the P shot.
Not
Is
to
that what I
receive
heard?
it. I was the first person that Dr. Charles Runnels showed the P shot to when he first developed it.
Okay.
So he also developed the vampire facelift. He owns the trade name to that as well. So I was there training for vampire facelift.
Oh.
And he said, oh, I know that you have a lot of male clientele. We were doing a lot of laser hair removal. At the time, I was doing a lot of testosterone replacement therapy. We were on the forefront of that back in 2010 when we knew that it was helpful, but doctors were too afraid to prescribe it. Their general practitioners were very afraid for years that it might cause side effects. And so we were offering that, the testosterone replacement therapy. And so Dr. Reynolds said, I know that you have a lot of male clientele. Let me train you on this procedure that's going to be called the Pripus shot. At the time, it got shortened to P shot later on. And we did them together for about a year and a half, and sort of compared what results we were getting. And he was seeing a lot more claims of having girth enhancement from it. I never saw that. And so I had to pull back personally from making the claims that we were going to get growth or size changes, because I never saw that happen. I only saw the sexual performance side of it.
Now, when you say you guys tried it together at the same time, are you saying on your clientele?
On clientele.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we would talk about it and tell clients that we had this, and this is how platelet-rich plasma works. It's safe. It comes from your own body. There's nothing that can happen to you. There's not really any possible complications that you can really get from, unless you just totally inject someone without cleaning them and prepping them and use dirty needles or something like that. The procedure is clean, and people don't get complications from it. So I did quite a bit of that and got very familiar with working on the penis, doing injections because of that. And when we announced it, we had a tremendous flood of inquiries of people that wanted to know about the girth enhancement portion of it. Unfortunately, as I just stated before, that did not work out to be successful for us. So I had to pull back, but it gave me an idea of what was out there as far as men that actually wanted to do something to change the size of their penis, because we'd never talked about it before. There had
Yeah,
never
Right.
it was
been,
a
and we really had
need.
to, like,
There was
we
a
had
desire.
announced there was a huge desire for it.
Can I ask a question about that? Have you been able to tell, is there any research or even anecdotal evidence from your experience that showed that men who have a hard time reaching climax, can the P shot help them when they're struggling to have an orgasm actually reach their orgasms more easily because of the increased of sensitivity?
I think that it's fair to say if when they were younger, if they didn't have any trouble reaching orgasm, and as they got older because of hormonal changes and loss of sensitivity and possibly some neuropathy from different types of diabetes and so forth, the different types of neuropathy, I think that there's a very good chance that it could help those people. But if they just always struggle because of, a mental condition, like
Right.
I've met people that just could not climax when someone else was in the
Right.
room.
Could be
There's all kinds of other
SRI,
reasons. Yeah,
complications,
if it's
and
something
all
in
sorts of
mental, I think
reasons.
it's probably not gonna overcome that. But
Yeah.
if they were able to have a successful orgasm when they were younger, I think that we can make it better now with
Okay.
that. But I've switched to not using platelet-rich plasma anymore since we're just going to talk about this
Yeah,
really
yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Now there's another product that's called exosomes that they're also being used in the face. It's being used for hair restoration, for hair loss. It's been injected into joints for people who have orthopedic issues. And we've now, in my clinic, we've replaced platelet-rich plasma with using exosomes. Exosomes are the vesicles that come off of a stem cell. And
Mm.
these particular stem cells that we use come from newborn babies' umbilical cords where the mother and the baby were pre-screened and they knew that they were going to be donating their umbilical cord after they delivered. The delivery occurs, the umbilical cord is immediately taken to a tissue bank where it's preserved. They separate out the stem cells in vitro or in test tube. They are able to use a filter and capture exosomes that are released from these stem cells. In
Mm.
real life, whenever a stem cell is working in the body, it releases exosomes, and exosomes essentially, in a very simple way, carry the blueprint and the growth factors that tell a cell how to regenerate. So
Mm.
the stem cell doesn't have to be present for all type of regeneration from a stem cell. The exosomes, which is the vesicle that comes off of those stem cells, can actually do a lot of that work alone. And so we can get exosomes for a very good price compared to how much stem cells cost.
Mm.
And another nice thing about an exosome versus a stem cell is that an exosome is not a full cell and it doesn't have any DNA. And so a lot of times
Mm.
it could be people can reject, not get the great benefits from stem cells in every
Because of
case
the
because of the
DNA.
DNA. Yeah,
Just-
exactly.
And that's because
there's nothing in this.
It's not a match or whatever from
Yeah.
one.
We've interviewed a number of doctors who offer stem cell treatments to deal with erectile dysfunction in particular.
This is
And
a
they
very
are
similar thing.
okay, very
Mhm.
similar. But they're drawing stem cells from the patient's own body themselves, versus this using the umbilical cord. So is one more efficacious than the other? And it sounds like it is because of the DNA structure of one's personal stem cells.
Whenever you're looking at data, you can probably find just as many studies that say that stem cells are more active and do more results than an exosome.
Mm.
And you can find just as many that probably say that exosomes do more than
Sure.
stem cells. I mean, it's just how, unfortunately, that's how it is. And we have to filter through and sort of decide as practitioners ourselves what we think is best.
Mhm.
Personally, I believe that an exosome that comes off of the newborn stem cell that was just developing lungs and a heart and a brain are better than the stem cells that may come out of a 45, 55, 60-year-old man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For erectile
Stands
dysfunction.
to reason.
So
Makes
we
sense.
believe that the younger vesicles off of a brand new stem cell that's never been manipulated
Mhm.
is more beneficial than getting your own stem cells.
And so what kind of results are you seeing then with the exosomes? Did you ever do stem cells?
Let's take a quick break.
Ladies, do you want to explore your sexuality and experience true sexual healing?
The Vaginal Orgasms Masterclass teaches you and your partners how to unlock your full sexual potential and awaken the G spot, the sacred spot, and the cervix for an unforgettable sexual experience. Would learning how to finally surrender and release grief, fear, and uncertainty benefit your outlook on life, love, and relationships? We certainly think so. Common misconceptions of the G-spot, including its anatomy and function as an erogenous zone, will be covered in this course.
Plus, we're going to teach you 7 different massage strokes for the G-spot that dissolve blocked energy and increase your pleasure tenfold.
We're going to teach you how to locate the sacred spot and the best methods to stimulate it for maximum pleasure.
And you're going to learn about cervical orgasm techniques, which are the most powerful and also often elusive style of climaxing. You know, this class is primarily geared toward women, but men have taken it as well and learned so much about how to pleasure their partners.
So get ready for multiple O's, my friends. And you can get all of that at sexreimagine.com/female-masterclass. And for being a listener of the show, we've got a beautiful coupon code for you. It is 20% off this course. Just type in podcast20, that's all caps, podcast20, and get yourself a great deal on this on-demand course.
I had done a handful of stem cells on some patients. I did it on myself. Stem cells to me are scary. I'm going to tell you a story of something that happened, and luckily it happened to me, and it didn't happen to a patient. I had a company that had stem cells. They were trying to get my clinic to buy them, and they came in and they did a demo on me with stem cells and did an injection on my penis with stem cells. And I may have seen some changes, nothing that was like life changing.
Nothing remarkable.
Nothing remarkable. Maybe some extra sensitivity, maybe a little bit easier to get better erections. But 6 months after this happened, I got a phone call from the Dallas County Health Department wanting to know which patient at our clinic had stem cells using lot number, blah, 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 blah. Which was me, because I was the patient that they had injected.
Oh, my Lordy.
And my stem cells have been exposed to hepatitis C.
Oh,
Luckily,
brother.
I had to go to get tested immediately, and I don't have it. But, using
is
someone
scary.
else's stem cells is a little bit, they're tested. I don't know. We don't know how this batch got through and didn't get flagged. Or I guess they were tested and they were clean of the diseases that they tested for, but somehow they thought that there might have been some cross-contamination. Luckily, it doesn't appear that mine did have any cross-contamination because I didn't have hepatitis C. But there's all different kind of things to think about. With exosomes, they're not true cells. So they don't carry disease. So there's you can weigh things out in different ways. But as far as the differences, there are published studies that show the same changes, because I've got one of them at my fingertips I use sometimes, that show just as good of changes with exosomes as stem cells that are purchased. I haven't seen published studies on stem cells using the patients on stem cells. And that might be a hard study to design, because you've got a lot of different factors in there. You've got smokers and non-smokers, and whenever they're doing a study with stem cells, you can have a very controlled group of stem cells, and I think you could have a better designed study. I just don't know that we're going to have a good published study on that. There could be one out there. I'm just not familiar with it. But I do have a lot of patients rave about having a procedure with exosomes, but it can't fix everything. So if they've got venous leakage and the valves just don't close, because that was that is an anatomical problem. They're not going to fix an anatomical problem, but they can help repair vascularity that's not functioning the way that it used to function, and it can help with issues like plaque, and it can rejuvenate. It just can't fix every single problem.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, venous leakage is problematic for erections. Sometimes you can get an erection, but you have a hard time maintaining an erection, just in case you're not familiar with that language. So curious, how many treatments does one need to do in order to increase their girth with, I'm going to butcher the name of this
For
thing.
PhalloFILL.
Yeah, but the name of the not a cell.
Exosomes?
Oh,
Exosomes.
exosomes. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's not be
exosomes.
confusing. That is not used for girth enhancement.
Oh,
So we're using that for like rejuvenation, sexual
okay,
performance, helping your sex be better, increasing
okay,
sensitivity. We can't make any on-label claims whenever we're using an exosome. Like we can't say erectile dysfunction. We can't use, there are certain ways that you can't make claims about a product that has not been through an FDA study specifically for that. So we can't make a claim, but we call it rejuvenation of your tissue and improve sexual performance and that sort of thing. So that is what exosomes are used for. They are not used for size changes.
oh,
So-
okay,
The P shot was originally promoted for that, for a size change in the very beginning, 15 years ago, and a lot of places still promote it for size change, but it does not work. And we've trained close to 40 urologists, and all the ones that have tried it for size change have always said it doesn't work.
It doesn't work for
You
that.
can't make the tissue grow and increase the size of the penis like that.
So we'll get to girth enhancement in a second, but let's stay with exosomes for a
Okay.
moment. What is your take on exosomes versus peptides like the PT-141?
Well, totally different. So, I mean, I
Totally
take PT-141. I take BPC-157. I've been taking the first one you mentioned for libido. Oh my gosh, I probably started it in 2018 and 2019.
Mhm.
I love that. That
So you're
peptide.
they go together. They're a great combination.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely absolutely go together. Testosterone replacement
Wait,
therapy.
I'm sorry. What goes together? Because I heard two names of peptides and then also that enzymes thing.
Peptides and exosome therapy
Okay, got it.
are a great combination
The
because
synergy, great synergy.
yeah, peptides are
Got
really
it.
working internally on your system, working with your hormones and all of that. Plus, hormone therapy can be supportive as well. And then it sounds like the exosomes are really working like wherever you put
tissue.
them, on the face or in the penis
Or the joints.
joints. Yeah.
Got
Exactly.
it. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So was
Okay.
I still talking? Was I supposed to answer something? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I interrupted you.
You were just
Wait.
kind of going
I'm
on
losing
about
the plot.
peptides for a moment there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love peptides. I think the synergy between peptides, some that maybe increase IGF-1 for anti-aging, that also will help with erections, testosterone replacement therapy, exosomes. I think that the synergy between multiple
Those things. Yeah.
treatments are really what is going to give someone the best result whenever they're trying to change their sexual performance and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Okay, now let's get on to girth. What is PhalloFILL? And tell us about it.
So PhalloFILL is a procedure, non-invasive, non-surgical, that utilizes hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is in skincare products.
Yeah, I use it
moisturizers,
every day.
polyol. So your body
Mhm.
produces it. It's naturally occurring in your skin and your tendons and your organs. Sometimes I jokingly tell patients that their body is a pool of hyaluronic acid because we have so much of it in us. And so it's very safe to use it as a dermal filler. You've known of it being used in the lips, cheeks, nasolabial folds since 2004 was when the very first one was FDA cleared to be used in the face. And so this hyaluronic acid is a clear gel that can be 100% reversed by a procedure using hyaluronidase, which is an enzyme that basically breaks the bond that holds hyaluronic acid molecules together and turns it into sugar and water, and then your body can reabsorb it. So, if somebody doesn't like it, which that never happens, but if they did, it could be reversed. If they don't follow their post-care completely 100%, they have like a little bit of an irregularity, a couple of droplets of hyaluronidase, a little bit of massage with your thumb, and you basically have just leveled out like an irregularity. So you can't do that when you're injecting the penis with other fillers like silicone or PMMA, which are used in this country very freely, illegally, and they're not made to be injected in the body. And there are lots of people that are still using it, and they cause horrific outcomes for their patients. I'm talking about large nodules and bumps that you
Yeah,
can
there's some
put your hands
really
around and pick them up off someone's penis.
scary botched stories when you are injecting silicone. Okay, so I want to make sure I've got it all. People who are wanting to increase girth, the things that are on the market are fat grafting, where you're taking
That's not
fat
really
from
done
another
very
part of
much
your
anymore.
body.
That was
It's
an
not-
old method. I don't know if we
Okay.
could even find someone doing that right now. I haven't heard of it in a long time.
Okay, got it.
Their
And
mine was
then
15 years ago.
And then there's filler injections.
Yes.
And
there's
so
different
is that
types.
what your product does? It's basically a filler injection to the penis?
Yes, but we're using hyaluronic acid as our
Mhm.
filler product.
Mhm.
And a lot of providers out there use other things that are less expensive
That
to
are not.
them, that are not really made to be injected in the body. So
Mhm.
PMMA is made to be used in the human body for instance, a good reason is for in the spine. It can be used to increase the thickness of the vertebrae.
Huh.
It's hard. It can
Oh.
be sort of
What are you
rigid. It can
saying?
be
PMA.
PMMA, and it stands for
PMMA.
polymethyl something acrylic.
Okay.
It's basically plastic acrylic beads, tiny plastic
Oh.
acrylic beads is
That
what
does
it
not
is.
sound like you want that injected into your body.
And it's permanent. And so if for
Yeesh.
some reason it gets uneven or it's lumpy, it has
Yeah.
to be surgically removed with a declubbing procedure. And guys,
Mm.
you don't even want to know what a declubbing procedure is, you can imagine.
Declubbing men.
Declubbing, yeah.
Don't go there. Avoid the
And
PMMA.
And the silicone. So PMMA
And
and
silicone,
silicone are
okay.
the two that you will find. They're very common if you're looking for girth enhancement. But what the draw is for those procedures is that it's permanent.
Mm.
And so, guys, you've only got one.
Mm.
That's it. And if it gets messed up,
You're kind of
you're
stuck.
kind of screwed. So don't put anything permanent in your penis. We do not know what's going to happen in 20 or 30 years to something that has been put into the penis permanently. We have absolutely no idea.
And so that's the beauty of hyaluronic acid is it
Yes.
kind of dissolves into the tissues over time.
It does.
And so then you need to get repeat treatments every 6 months?
12 months.
12 months?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it lasts a lot longer in the penis than it does in the face because we're injecting it between two layers of
Every
fascia.
12 months.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
not a full treatment every 12 months. A touch up, a maintenance dose.
Maintenance.
Okay.
Because it lasts a lot longer in the penis. So let's just say that they
Is that
get.
because it doesn't last in the face because we are using so many
Using our
facial
face.
muscles?
It's not exactly that, but that could be a bit of it. But it's more that in the face, it's sort of free floating. There's blood flow. There's lymphatic drainage. There's lots of things
blood
happening.
flow to the head. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the penis, the layer that we place this between with the PhalloFILL procedure anyway, everyone does it different. Some people put it between this outer layer of fascia called the dartos fascia and the skin.
Mm.
That's not how we inject it with PhalloFILL. We inject it between two layers of fascia called the dartos layer of fascia and the bucks layer of fascia.
Mm.
And there happens not to be very much blood flow, if any, and there's no lymphatics that are occurring
That's why
inside
it lasts
there.
so
That's
long.
why it lasts longer in the PhalloFILL procedure.
Gotcha.
Can you share where exactly that is on the penis if people
Yeah.
don't have a reference for where those tissues are located?
It's hard to imagine. I don't have a way to shape it. Just visually, let's just think of our first layer of sheets
Yeah.
as our skin.
Uh-huh.
And then let's think of our next layer as our blanket.
Mhm.
And then our next layer is our mattress pad. And then in the corpora is the mattress. That's where all the blood flow is that makes you have an erection. So we've got
Okay.
sheets, which is
Corpora
skin.
meaning body, kind of corpus. is
Corporal
that-
body, yeah. That's
Mhm.
where all the blood flow is. That's what creates you to have an erection. So we have the skin, the top layer, which is the sheet. And then the next layer, we're kind of calling our blanket, and that is our dartos fascia.
Dartos.
And then below that, we have our mattress cover. That's going to be called our bucks. What I want you to think about bucks and dartos is like this. If you have one of those fabric water hoses that we've all seen in the garden, you turn it off and it gets flaccid
Yeah.
and it shrinks up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you turn it on and it fills full of water and it pushes against the fabric layers. That's
Good
exactly
analogy.
how a reaction,
Yeah,
or
great
erection, how the
visual.
erection works. So we turn the blood flow on to the penis with a stimulation,
Uh-huh.
and the blood pushes against the bucks and the dartos fascia, and it creates that rigid erection, just like the water
Oh.
pushes against the fabric and makes that
Right.
water hose get erect.
Yes.
Now think about that water hose having two layers of fabric, just two
Mhm.
layers. And so we're basically, that's the outer layer of that water hose is the dartos, and the inner layer is the bucks fascia.
Mm.
And so we are packing the dermal filler between dartos and bucks. So finding the layer between the bucks fascia and the dartos fascia is something that I teach the providers when they come in for training. So today happens to be a training day for me. I have a physician here from Lubbock, Texas. He's in his second day of training. So the entire first half of the first day, I'm teaching how to find the layer between bucks and dartos. And we do a hydrodissection. We put a little bit of 1% lidocaine in between there. We create a pocket. And then we have to go back in with our dermal filler right in between that pocket. And we have to lay the dermal filler very evenly. And then we finish up with the post care and applying our patented sleeve, which is called the PhalloFILL sleeve. That we can talk about that in a moment. That meant so it's completely different than every other provider. So learning how to find that dartos and bucks fascia is an art. And I actually I can't teach it to everyone. Some people just can't get it because you have to be able to feel.
It's like about dexterity,
Oh my gosh,
sensitivity.
exactly.
I bet I
is
could
so
find
much.
it.
I bet I'd love to
You
check.
probably could.
I have very good
She has a
sensitivity.
spidey sense for those kinds of
Tissues,
things. Yeah.
different layers. Oh,
Yeah,
how
so I
fun.
mean, I found it so easy because I injected faces for 17 years prior
Right.
to going into injecting penis,
Yeah.
and so I'm pretty good at feeling, and I've
Mhm.
also gotten to where I can visually see, like I can see changes in when the person is training. I can see when they hit into the fascia. So that's what we're training on right now is how to find it, lay it, and provide a good post care.
Now, so when you're training someone and you're like, you're just not finding it, like, what do you do with that person? What do you do with that practitioner?
Well, so I have a couple times I've told them that they're not cleared to do PhalloFILL,
Okay.
and they will have to go back and they will have to practice on their own people on how to find that that
Layer.
plane,
Yeah.
and be able to do the hydrodissection. And then once we usually tell them they need to do them, anywhere between 6 and 10 of their own. And then whenever they think that they have got it under control again,
They come
then
back.
we'll do a call, or we'll do a second training, and we'll make sure. And then there have been people who I just flat out said, "You're not going to get it. I can tell that you're not going to get it." And
Yeah.
and we just have to call the practice and say the person that you sent, the physician you sent, is not trainable, and we're not going to be able to work on them. It's happened a couple of times. So we do make sure that the people that are out there are not only trained, but they're trained well and they're competent
That's
and
good to
perform
know.
the procedure.
Yeah.
Couple questions about that. So I understand you train urologists. I'm suppose you also train nurse practitioners and doctors who are running medi spas.
Yeah, I
Are
would
there
say
anyone else
2/3.
that's eligible for this kind of training?
2/3 of our providers are urologists, and the other 1/3 are physician practices that could be specialty in anti-aging.
Yeah.
We have a couple plastics, we have a couple of derms. And then oftentimes within the practice, the physician will be trained, but then they'll also want to have their physician assistant or their nurse practitioner, or even a nurse. In many
Yeah.
states, a nurse is able to
I
inject.
was going to
So
say, is a
whatever's
nurse
legal
eligible?
in the state.
Yeah, if
Right.
you
It's
can
state
do
by state.
injections, basically.
If you
Like
can, if
I
you're legal
can't
to
do them. Yeah.
if you're legal in your state to do injections, then and you're under a physician, then we will train you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Now,
I wish I could.
where along the penis are you injecting? Can you sort of describe the location? Like, is it around the coronal
Very
ridge
easy.
or the shaft or the base or the head?
So if you have a penis,
Mhm.
we have 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
9 o'clock, 3 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
5 o'clock. So we always inject in the 9 and the 3 on the sides of the penis. And so we want to make the penis wider. A round penis that looks like a sausage doesn't look real. And PhalloFILL is undetectable. And we
Okay.
want it to continue to be undetectable. We don't want someone to say, "Oh man, did you get that injected? Where'd you get that done?"
Right.
That's not the goal. So we do inject it wide. And also, if a man is looking at himself in the mirror, if the penis is wide versus front to back, because you put a lot of your filler on the top of the penis, you don't see those changes as well when they're front to back as well as they are side to side.
But
Sure.
where along the shaft? Like right in the middle, or
Oh, well, on the sides,
On the
93
sides.
position.
But is it more towards
I
the base?
know on the sides. I know on the
center,
3 and 9.
top.
From the corona to the
Yeah.
base.
Okay.
So if you'll imagine a column
Yeah.
on both
Yeah.
sides, all the way down a column. I was almost as if it were going to be nasolabial folds, so it's
Okay.
straight bead, but it's along the side in the 9 and the 3 o'clock positions on the side. We will not go on the bottom because the urethra is there, and you don't want to be anywhere close to the urethra, so that is just not done anyway. But a lot of our providers put it on top, and it does not look good. People come
That's
into us for
interesting.
corrections, or because they move and they're here and they were somewhere else
Uh-huh.
before, and they come in, they've had it done on the top of the shaft. It just does not look good.
So there are other things besides PhalloFILL that are using hyaluronic acid, but your sort of proprietary PhalloFILL is got this very specific between these layers at these points on the clock, these points on the penis, and that's kind of what makes PhalloFILL number one in the country.
That
Is
is
that right?
part of it. That's a large part of it,
Okay.
is that we have a staged protocol that
Mhm.
we do a certain amount at one time. Thin layers of dermal fillers stay in place better than thick layers. Another analogy that I use is
That's
if
good.
you have a thick tube of toothpaste, you can move the toothpaste really easily. And then when it gets to the very bottom, we always struggle to try and
Yeah.
get the last bit of the toothpaste out. So thin layers are more difficult to move. A lot of providers, because they only want you on the treatment table one time, because they can make more money in 1 hour versus having to have someone come in 5 times for the same amount of money. Of course, they want you to come in one time. We don't do that with PhalloFILL.
They'll do thicker layers.
They'll do like 25 syringes at one time, whereas
And
we
you're
do
doing
4 to
one.
6. We'll do like 6 syringes.
Okay.
4 to 6.
Okay.
And so how many injections in that appointment? You said 3 and 9. Are you always doing 3 and 9, or are you only doing 9 sometimes, or only doing 3 depending on the shape of the penis?
Same on both sides.
You
every
always
time.
do both
They
sides.
always
Yeah.
do it,
So
even
it's symmetrical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and then what's the recovery process like?
Well, the recovery is really easy. So we have as I mentioned before, a patented sleeve that we provide to our providers, and only PhalloFILL providers have access to these sleeves. And to our knowledge, no one else in the world has created any type of post-care garment specifically to be used after their girth enhancement procedure besides us. And this sleeve basically compresses and elongates the penis so that it doesn't retract like an accordion and create like the baffles on an accordion, which would be lumps in your penis. So
Good.
we believe that yes, it's very
The
important
sleeve
to
is
be
a
able to.
key.
It's the key. It
Yeah.
is the secret sauce. And it is actually the reason that providers, the top urologists in the country, began to flock towards PhalloFILL,
Okay.
was because they had never felt that there was a way to perform it and have the patient be symmetrical and happy with the procedure. So
Right.
it's safe to inject hyaluronic acid basically any way you want to inject it in the penis, because
Okay.
you're not really going to hurt very much.
And it will
Yeah,
go
and it
away
eventually goes
eventually.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now-
so safety is one concern, but making patients happy with it is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Mhm.
That's the name of the game. Now, speaking of satisfaction, there's some, my understanding is that unlike Botox, if you get fillers in your face and you really don't like how it looks, you can go back and there are ways that they can remove the filler. Is the same thing true for doing this procedure on a penis?
Absolutely.
Could someone take it out?
Absolutely. I have reversed it on one person. That person had it for 3 or 4 years and began to date someone who had not had children. I think I think he was
Yeah,
married, and he had a wife that had a couple of vaginal birth deliveries. Maybe was separated, divorced, and then was dating someone younger that had not had children, and we needed to take it down some. But I was actually training our urologist from Las Vegas the day that he came in for his reversal. So I was able to have a witness that heard him saying, "Oh, I love PhalloFILL. I just can't use it.
It just got too
now.
big."
I just can't use it on my current partner." And so we took it down, to take it down really easily. Now I reverse people all the time that are not PhalloFILL patients. I mean, on
okay.
a regular basis, I have people fly in. There's a website called PhalloBoards, PhalloBoards.info, which is a great place. It's nonprofit. It's not there for making money. You can go in and you can read about providers across the country for girth enhancement, and you can read patient experiences. And, they talk about doctors that have been good and doctors that have been bad, or providers or whatever. On the PhalloBoards.info website, people have talked about me being their fixer a lot. There's a lot of conversations about people having gone to many urologists or providers of girth enhancement across the country, and they had uneven results because they didn't have a post-care garment. Maybe it wasn't injected evenly, whatever the case may have been. Maybe it was injected in the wrong plane. It was between dardos and skin.
Yeah, they weren't
versus between
happy.
dardos and bucks. When it's between dardos and skin, it is a disaster.
Oh,
It is like a water
A
balloon.
lumpy.
Oh,
disaster.
really? Like a
It is
swollen?
squishy, mushy. The erection is inside the big the big lump of girth, and so you got an erect penis down deep, and you got this really squishy stuff on top. Like
Oh,
lots.
Weird.
So with the FhalloFILL
thank God you
It
can
would
fix
feel
that.
weird. I know.
you can fix. So I
Yeah.
reverse a lot. I mean, a lot of people I will have to completely 100% reverse. I just reversed out $40,000 worth of dermal filler from a guy that got it in a more expensive state, where the
Wow.
provider was charging close to double per syringe that what we charge at FhalloFILL, and it was all outside the Darnus fascia, and we had to reverse every bit of it.
Oh
And
my
there's a cost to
gosh.
reversing it as well.
I'm
Right.
The
sure.
Hyaluronic days is expensive.
Now,
It's an expensive product.
can
Jeez.
someone, is that, will that doctor be sued? Is there litigious
No,
consequences
probably
for something
not.
like that? Or because people sign a waiver,
Yeah.
Well, I
before a
mean, they
procedure?
just have a bad technique. I mean,
Right.
like if you have a bad facelift and you just chose a bad doctor, I don't know that you have any grounds really to stand on with that.
Yeah,
It's
right.
you got to do your due diligence
I want to maybe
processes.
touch on this for hair loss because we're talking about men and looking good and feeling good and finding your confidence. And so many men have, they have this bald spot or full bald and they want this hair back. So tell us about a little bit about how you're using exosomes for balding.
So first of all, whenever somebody comes to us and they want to have something done for hair loss, we offer at this clinic everything. I have Smart Graft, which is follicular unit extraction hair restoration. So we take individual hair follicles
Mhm.
and then place them in the top. And my provider is amazing. He
Because I've
uses
seen some great
cowlicks and
results
water.
with that.
Yeah, he's amazing. If any movie star that you have seen that has had it done, he's probably the one who's done it.
Wow.
Whenever a manager calls SmartGraft and they say who is your best, they will set up shop for him and they'll fly him out, and he does like the top actors and stuff.
And
celebrities.
it's a long procedure, right? Isn't it like 6 to 8 hours?
5 to 8 hours, something like
Yeah.
that. And that's to do a lot of grafts, like 2,500 to 3,500 grafts.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we do. We also have a hyperbaric chamber, not specifically for hair restoration, but there are published studies that show that hyperbaric chamber sessions can actually increase blood flow to the scalp and can help some dormant hair follicles grow. So we offer our hair restoration patients hyperbarics about 5 days prior to their procedure to get their scalp prepared. And then we offer them hyperbaric after their procedure, and it dramatically reduces swelling because you
Smart.
got pressure on the body, and so it can
Fresh
help
blood.
help push blood back into the system. But there's also the published studies that show that just the oxygen to the follicles can increase some growth. We also offer exosomes, which we talked about earlier. We do that in combination for men. So maybe we might offer them complementary exosomes with their hair restoration surgery so that we can make the existing follicles stronger and more resilient.
Thicker and
And then we also have some red light therapy. But the first thing that we do when somebody comes in is we do an actual genetic test. And it's a swab, and it's sent off and it's analyzed, and so much information comes back. It tells the man if they're predisposed to having hair loss if they take hormone replacement therapy. It tells them if they're going to respond to Propecia. It tells them if they're going to respond to a topical. It tells them
Oh, how wonderful.
respond to an exosome procedure, or whether they're going to have to go straight to
so it's
graft.
kind of like points you in the direction.
It tells us
Yeah.
what to
Talk
do.
about
But,
saving
it's
someone
pretty
money.
new. It saves a lot of money and,
Yeah.
and time and effort. And it's, those tests are fairly new. They haven't been around that long. So
But
Yeah.
you're finding
a
them
lot-
to be very accurate.
yeah, and they're not in all the locations yet, but
Okay.
they should look for a test before they invest their money to see what is going to be the best.
What
for
is
them.
the
Cool.
name of this test that you're using?
It is. Gosh, I just walked past it. I open the box all the time. If you'll give me 2 seconds, I can go grab one. It's like right outside my door.
Yeah,
Sure.
Let me just go grab it because I got the name on it. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I think it'd be interesting for people to know.
He's such a sweetie. I like him.
We should have gotten into the fucking Medi-Spa space, girl. You should move to Santa Barbara. Let's open it up. I got a nurse practitioner. She can do this.
And what would I do? I'd be the receptionist.
We will figure it out. You will run the show, girl. You will fucking create spreadsheets and make sure everything's organized. You'll be
I'll do the bookkeeping.
you'll be the song and dance girl. Okay, be the show girl.
Right. The showgirl.
All right, I got
Question
it
for
here.
you. Oh, yeah. So what was the name of that test?
ALO. Okay.
ALO test. So it's DNA testing for androgenetic alopecia areata, areata, and telogen effluvium.
Easy for you to say.
I know I didn't say all that right. I know I didn't.
Androgenic alopecia areata, and telogen effluvium.
That wasn't good. You said it right.
Pretty good.
Okay, so question, like, who's good? Because it seems like kind of it's a crapshoot, and maybe this testing solves that. But I know people who've done hair restoration procedures with great success, and I've known people who've done the same restoration procedures with much not great results. Do you have feeling for who's good and who's not good for that kind of?
You got to do your research. I mean, you can have the planters are generally the people who make or break the procedure. The ones who like do the planting, put the hair back in. So a lot of times the physician just comes in, they might do the anesthesia, and then you've got one person who's trained to take the grafts out. And then you've got two people sometimes sitting at a table that does what's called the dissection of them, and they get all the skin off of them and clean them up. If those people are nicking the follicles under magnifying glass, you don't even know that they're damaged, and you put them right back into the patient, and then they don't take. So you've got dissectors, you've got planters, you've got a whole team, and so you got to ask them some questions, some serious questions whenever you go in. Who's going to be doing my procedure? How long is my planter been planting? How many procedures have they done? It's not just about the doctor, because a lot of times the doctor doesn't really have very much to do with the actual procedure. They're in another room doing surgeries and procedures.
Okay, so they're tech people are doing it.
It's a lot of times it's techs that are doing it. So you just got to find out and make sure that the before and afters are actually their before and afters, and not some that they found on stock photography. And just you got to just do some due diligence to know who's going to be the person who's going to want to do. And you want to ask about. Say, I want to see all of your hairlines where people had, the front of their hair brought down. I want to see people where they had the hair follicles growing in a way that you can brush the hair over to the side. Like, a true planter is going to be able to look at you and determine how your hairline needs to be created. So that it can be
have you had this
correctly.
Procedure done, William?
I am lucky that I have not yet lost the hair. I'm 51. I haven't lost any hair just yet. But I will if I need to. But my father died with a full head of hair. My mother has a full head of hair. So I'm hoping that I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the cost is for something like hair restoration and for the increased girth enhancement. Okay. And then also, like, what's the difference between that first treatment price and then maintenance prices?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hair restoration is easy. So it's done in a number of grafts or follicles generally. We generally do about 2,500 grafts. At this clinic, we charge $5 a graft. However, our competitors in Dallas charge about $9 a graft. So you're looking at a graft per graft cost wherever you look generally. And so I would say anywhere between probably $6 and $9 per graft is average. So you would multiply that by the 2,500 times 5 is what, 12,500 here. It could be closer to 20,000 if you got 2,500 grafts at another clinic. So that's going to vary with the city and the experience of the physician.
And also how many grafts you need, like how much balding there is. Yeah,
how many, the number. So anywhere probably between 25 and 4,500 grafts is probably the maximum you're going to see, is like 4,500 grafts at a time.
Okay.
So that's hair restoration. Girth enhancement. I have this little set of props over here. Let me see if you can see them. I should bring them here. I have this set of props. It says PhalloFILL in the front. And we have all different sizes.
Oh, yeah, cool. So for those of you who aren't watching, you might be listening. He's got these
dolls,
cylinders.
Basically.
Yeah, like cylinders. They kind of remind me of, like, when you stuff quarters in those packets from the bank.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Kind of look like those.
Yeah.
Like a nickel packet.
When's the last time you stuffed one of those?
I know, right? People don't use change anymore. They use credit cards.
I know. Okay,
Um,
so what are those, William? Those
So,
are
so
examples of
yeah, so this is a
size.
3.75
Okay.
in circumference, and this is a 4. So this is a quarter of an inch.
Mm.
From the smaller one to the larger one, it's a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, you can
And
see
then
it.
one more up, this is 4.25.
Okay.
okay.
So they're progressively getting larger by
So,
1/4 of an inch.
uh-huh.
Each one of our procedures generally increases you by 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So it will take about 4 to 5 sessions to get you like around an inch increase, maybe
Wow, a whole
5 to
inch
6.
increase?
Oh yeah, I just treated a guy today. He's been
It's
coming
pretty
for 5
significant.
years. He's 2.25 inches larger than what he was when he started.
Wow.
In girth or in
In
length?
girth.
In girth.
Now we don't
Yeah.
affect the length at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just girth when we're talking about
Well, I
PhalloFILL.
like girth.
Now the flaccid length
Most
can
Give
women
me
do.
take
girth
longer.
over length any day.
That's what all women say. I mean, that's the truth. You don't want it
Yeah.
knocking at your lungs.
Right.
Um,
Right. Beating up your cervix.
Yeah. So each treatment is about 1/4 of an inch. So if they're going to do here, I'm going to give you my Dallas prices because we're on the lower end
Okay.
of the spectrum. So if you buy a package of 10 syringes, that can be a couple of treatments. Maybe that might give you a 1/2 of an inch increase. That's going to be about $5,500.
Okay.
If you want to go more towards 4 sessions and you got like a 5-inch penis, which is the average, you're going to need about 20 syringes, and that pack is $10,000.
Okay.
Some people want to go more than that, so it's not unusual for us to sell like a $13,000 package sometimes, and then people do love it, and so they will continue to come in. And I know that it sounds really expensive, but dermal filler is really expensive
It's
in the
expensive.
US. It's
Yeah.
like there's just no way around it here in the
Yeah.
US because
Women
with the
across
FDA's,
America.
and we
Know
take
this.
more. We
Yeah.
take more for what we're doing, and the longer the penis, the more it
The
takes
more
to
it
get down
takes.
the shaft.
That
Yeah.
Oh,
makes
of
sense.
course.
Yeah.
So, and this is, you can't do this treatment more than once a year because you don't need
No,
to.
you can do it as much as you want until you
Okay.
hit your girth
Your
goal.
girth preference.
Yeah, and then
Your
once you hit
girth
your
goal.
goal, then you do one procedure every 12 months to maintain.
Okay. Okay.
And then
So
how much is that
what's the-
maintains procedure?
Well,
Well,
and
it's
also, what's
generally
the interval to get to the
3
goal
weeks.
girth? 3
3
weeks.
weeks.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Every 3 weeks, I can treat you. So the number of syringes that is in your maintenance is going to be 1 syringe per length of penis. So if you have a 4-inch penis, you're generally going to have 4 syringes per session.
Okay.
A 5-inch penis, generally 5
5.
syringes, and a 6-inch penis is generally 6. Most penises are between 5 and 6 inches long. So
Right.
they're going to have 5 or 6 syringes per treatment to yield that 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
And then the maintenance for that is going to be 1 treatment of 4 to 5 syringes per year to
Okay.
maintain.
Okay.
What's the general age of your patients that are coming in for girth enhancement?
We just did a survey, and the numbers came back, and they were skewed to like 45 to 55 for the like about 50%. But there's a fairly large percentage of men that go all the way up to the age of 65. And then there's not quite as many people in their younger 20s, but we do all the time, do you see people that are 21, 22 years old that they finished college and they've got money.
Yeah.
But generally it's going to be once you've made a little bit more money in your lives before you're able to do it. But that's not necessarily true. I tell you, I have a lot of what you would call blue collar workers that come in here, and we offer financing, and they will finance. And this is the biggest thing that they've ever purchased for themselves.
Right.
But
Wow.
it changes so much
So
about their
empowering.
self-confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it can make such big changes. I had a guy that came in here covered with cement one day, concrete. And I was like, what do you do for work? And he said, I work in the factory that pours those big round things that you see on the side of the street that the sewage goes through, like underground. So I've had everything. We have a lot of roofers, a lot of electricians, a lot of builders, I have a lot of farmers that come in here, and
Sure.
I've got a lot of people from rural areas around DFW, but
You know,
see everything.
How long-
curious.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Willow. I've got a friend who ended up doing, I think, fat injections. This was back, 20, 25 years. Is that removable?
No.
Okay.
But it doesn't generally last that long either. You had a friend that did fat injections on like the face? It was a female that did it on the face? Or was it a guy that did it?
No, there's a guy who saved up money in his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
20 something plus years ago. And I've seen it, and it's on like either it's to make the head sort of fatter. It's almost a little bit like a roundish fat deposits underneath the coronal ridge.
That's the reason that we as a company do not do hyaluronic acid into the gland is
Mhm.
because the tissue is spongy and it doesn't expand. You can't make it even. We've never seen someone come in that someone had tried to enhance the size of their gland and they made it look good. It always looks like acne to me.
Oh,
Every time
Interesting.
I've ever seen it done with fat or with any type of dermal filler, it's always looked like acne just because it just doesn't spread like it does in the shaft. And it's
Mhm.
undetectable in the shaft.
so this doesn't look like acne. It doesn't actually look all that bad. Doesn't feel all that bad. And he hasn't reported any disappointments about it. I'm just curious if it can be removed.
No, I don't think so. So describe it for me one more time, though. I want to make sure that I
It's like
understand what it visually looks like.
it feels and looks like his shaft is thicker and wider than the head of his penis, but it's
Yeah.
not like a dramatic, it doesn't look deformed or anything. But where I can tell the most texture change and sort of the look where it's more distinguishable. And I didn't ask enough questions to like, oh, did they do anything more than what looks like it's obvious on either side of the shaft, just below the head. And it's on the side, it's not in the front or in the back.
And it's like a little bit more like a
A
bulgy
little bulbous, yeah,
on the
But
sides.
on the
Okay.
sides, and each side is symmetrical in its
You know
bobble.
what I find sometimes is that when they put too much of whatever product it is, in this case fat,
Fat.
it could be dermal filler, sometimes just what we say distal, just on the other side of the circumcision line, the circumcision can be tight and can have some scar tissue obviously in it because it was circumcision. And sometimes when you put the dermal filler underneath it, it doesn't expand like the other skin in the shaft of the penis does. And so sometimes what you put under the circumcision, with retraction occurring and the penis comes back towards the body, the dermal filler that was under the circumcision can be pushed forward. And what it sounds like to me is you're describing is two bulbs on each side that might have originally been under the circumcision. And it even looks even more bulgy because the circumcision is smaller, and the bulbous area is larger. And so there's like a bit of an optical illusion going there as well because the circumcision couldn't stretch. Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't.
Interesting.
Very. Now, how long does the procedure take? Do you have a list of providers for PhalloFILL around the states that people in different states can look up? And I had another question, but it's gone.
We'll
Let
start
me
with those two.
take
It'll
your-
probably come back.
So FhalloFILL procedure is really fast, and this is not with me rushing. I mean, I do a procedure in 10 to 12 minutes.
Oh, that
Someone
is
comes in
fast.
from start to finish. Now,
Jeez.
I booked them for an hour because these people have become my friends. I mean, we talk to them.
Do you want to shoot the shit for a while?
I know that they're going to want to shoot
before
the shit
you?
for a little bit.
Oh, I know what my
Right.
third question was. Does it hurt? I mean, you're putting a needle into someone's
talk about that
penis.
too.
Yeah.
So, so the procedure itself is pretty fast, but I do schedule a longer amount of time because sometimes people come in, they want to talk for a bit, and you can't just say, "Hey, you got to stop talking. I got somebody else here." So I just try and be as accommodating for that as I can, because they're trusting me to do something that's very sensitive, and sometimes they want to talk a lot and they want to tell me about what has changed in their lives and like how their dating has changed and how the intimacy with their spouse for 25 years has changed. So I try and give them time, but it doesn't take that long to do it. Now, as far as the sensation or the difficulty, I always ask every time I do a procedure on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you put the pain? 1 being the easiest, 10 being the most difficult pain that you can imagine. I generally get a 1 or a 2. It's rare that I get a 3.
Okay.
It's very rare. So I think that men tolerate it really
Tiny
well.
little needle, teeny tiny,
is
kind of like what I use for peptides.
30. It's maybe smaller.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
32
30 gauge.
gauge 8mm needle is what I use for the anesthesia.
That's
And it
tiny.
just goes barely under the skin.
Yeah.
And then once that has been numbed, I do use a larger syringe for the actual dermal filler, but you
Okay.
don't feel anything at that point
Right.
because it's been numbed.
It's numbed. Yeah. And then the numb goes away in an hour.
4 to 6 hours. It's
4 to
1%
6 hours.
lidocaine. 4 to 6
Okay.
hours. Yeah. The other question that you asked me was how many providers that we have or where they can find them.
Yeah.
So on our website, which is PhalloFILL, PhalloFill.com, if you read through there, one of the most amazing things I think about our website is that we have a text number right in front of you. And so you can send a text message to us, and it's going to go to one of our eight consultants that just speak about PhalloFILL. So you're not going to have to call an office that is a med spa and they offer 20 procedures, and the person who's answering the phone has to try and be familiar with every aspect of those 20 procedures. These people know one thing, and they know it backwards and forwards, and that's all that they speak about. And so you can have a private conversation without being nervous about picking up the phone and not knowing if it's going to be someone on the other line that's a female that maybe don't want to talk about this with the female sometimes. It's an anonymous way to be able to get some good answers and some good information. And these conversations, once you send a text message, sometimes they go on for 2 years before the person pulls the trigger and comes in. It is a very long
makes sense. Yeah.
Process.
Courting process.
Yeah, it doesn't. So I feel like that's an advantage that we have with our PhalloFILL company is that we have 24 hours a day. People that are trained, that are ready there. If you search for this at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to get a person saying leave a message and we'll text you back tomorrow. Like somebody's going to respond
to you.
It's not
That's
an AI
really
person.
cool.
It's a real person that works for us. Not a call center that we contract. It's our people.
Right.
And so so they get information that's on our website, but you can also scroll down and click on locations. And it's going to show you every location. So there's a map of the United States, Canada, and Mexico that shows you all the locations that we have in North America. And then you can click on one of those and be brought down to that specific provider. You can just scroll down and read about all of them if you'd like, because they're all on there with their information about their specialty and their clinic and that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Well, you were going and getting your the ALO kit. Leah and I started dreaming up that we should start our own med spa in Santa Barbara. And I've got a nurse who will come and do the training with you. So it's all in the works already.
Good. Have you named the clinic yet?
Have we named the clinic
we
at
just
Santa Barbara?
2 seconds ago, so we'll have to.
I haven't heard Manhood. Somebody the other day I was thinking, why has nobody offered a clinic called Manhood?
Manhood. I like that. That's very good.
We have a documentary being filmed about PhalloFILL.
Oh, you do?
Wow, that's amazing.
So
when's that coming out?
So they finished the final the video. So it was purchased once already, and the production company came up with some different ideas. It's a 90-minute film. They wanted to add a few little things to the editing. It has to be finished by today. Like today was the last day of editing. They're submitting to the Sundance Film Festival in 2 weeks.
Wow,
that's
huge. A pretty good chance for it to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. They only take 20 nonfiction films out of 2,000 submissions.
Wow, yeah.
But it will end up at the Sundance Film Festival, maybe South by Southwest at Austin, or maybe like Tribeca Film Festival. It will debut at one of those.
Okay.
And then the hope is that maybe it gets picked up to go to some of the theaters that are for independent films,
the alternative,
that sort of thing, and then hopefully a streaming network like HBO or Netflix is going to pick it up.
That would be great.
It talks about the development of PhalloFILL. It follows me back to my hometown, and interviews my childhood friends. And I don't know if you guys know that I took a case to the U.S. Supreme Court that was a landmark case and it talks a little bit about that. And follows a couple of patients that were PhalloFILL patients, and it is in my personal life. And
amazing.
So it's a little bit about all of that. So I don't know why somebody wants to watch a 90-minute film about me, and
I do,
but
I
would, yeah.
They say it's good. Like,
how do we find out when and where and all that?
I don't have any information. It's stuff that we're waiting to see if it gets picked up by Sundance Film Festival.
But we need to get on your newsletter, or I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell my PR guy is going to be keeping track with people that may want to do interviews again once the film comes out and so forth.
Make sure we're on that list.
Make sure that you're on there. So
our people want to watch it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting.
So I know we're getting close on time, but I do have 2 questions, maybe to wrap this up. One is, I'm sure this is a very sensitive, awkward thing to talk about. I imagine people are embarrassed. Is there anything that you can say to someone who's like, I would really like to seek out help, but when I think about making a phone call, I am just, I don't know what to say. I feel embarrassed. How do I start this
PhalloFILL
conversation?
network. Call the people.
Well, it's taboo to talk about it. And
Yeah.
we're trying to change that. Breast augmentation was taboo in the 70s. Look at it
Oh,
now.
really? Huh, okay.
I mean, it was taboo to talk about, in the 70s.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy to talk about, and now you can discuss it at the dining room table
Right.
with the family who is going to do
Right.
do your enhancement. So we're hoping that, in the next 5 to 10 years, PhalloFILL is progressing, our penile growth enhancement talks are progressing. We really hope that the film is going to be, an icebreaker for like a lot of guys. Like, hey, did you see that film?
Yeah.
Called whatever they decide to call it.
Yeah.
And maybe be able to open up some conversations. I have come out and I'm now talking about my enhancement experience and in the film. And actually, you're going to see my penis in the
We
film
get to
too.
see.
Great.
I was told. I mean,
Because I totally want to see before and afters.
We
Where do
want
you
to
find
see your
those?
penis.
well, they filmed like every aspect of my life. I mean, they filmed me on trips, on vacations. They
Wow.
everything. So I would wake up in the mornings and they would have the camera crew would be set up in my bedrooms and would watch from waking up to showering and going through the whole process. And so I think there is a
Amazing.
shower scene.
What was that
Well,
like
that's
for
so
you?
brave
Just
and
a
How
cool
was
of
all
you.
that?
What?
How was that for you? What was that like for you?
It
being
doesn't, I'm not
You were
shy
good.
at
Yeah,
all.
clearly.
So
Yeah.
I've already
You're
been
an
going to
open
nude beaches
book.
and stuff. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
doing all that sort of stuff for years.
Now, can people see before and afters on
Yeah,
your
on
website,
our
to kind of get a
website,
feeling?
we had the largest gallery of before and afters of any growth enhancement company that I've seen, and
Cool.
we have over 60 that are on there. I have probably another 60 that I have tagged
get
that need to
on
be
there.
uploaded, but I'm
Yeah.
so busy with training people and trying to run a clinic
Yeah.
that I just can't. I haven't been able to get them on there. I have to go through and count the syringes and look at them, the pre-size and the post-size. And there's a lot of information I've got to tag to go with it. Plus, we have to make sure that we have the correct media releases in place for them to be on our website.
Yeah, right. Well, for
we
people
have a great
to,
before and after gallery.
and people can find that gallery
It's
at
on our website.
PhalloFILL.com. Yeah, so
PhalloFILL.com.
that's PhalloFILL.com. And then that was one of my questions. There was a final one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Where do you see this industry headed? Like in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you got a feeling for that?
This is exploding so fast. So my clinic personally here, I've had my clinic doing growth enhancement for 5 years. Each year we are busier and busier and busier. Our numbers go up as far as our sales go. And then I also want to preface that by saying that when I first started doing growth enhancement in Dallas, it was me. And now if you Google penile growth enhancement in Dallas, there's 25 providers. So I'm still increasing my business size every year, but there's also 25 times more providers in Dallas that are offering it than I am. So that means that exponentially the amount of men that are having the procedure must be exploding. And we know that men have always wanted to change the size of their penis. Every man, deep down, whether or not they want to admit it, generally would like to.
Even if they
add
have a
little
big
bit to it.
penis, they still
We
want
have
to.
so many greedy men that come in here. I said,
I
your
know.
penis is massive.
It's
They say, "I'm
huge.
greedy."
Yeah. And they're like, I want a
I'm
bigger.
like, not everyone wants a big giant penis up inside. Sometimes that's a little overwhelming.
It can be, but
Painful.
Yeah.
so I think that the need is out there, and it's just now educating men to let them know that it's safe and that it's
Right.
undetectable, and that if need be, it can be reversed, and that it's not so crazy to want it and to ask for it. Other people are doing it. Lots of other people are doing it.
Mhm.
Well, on that
So
note,
fun.
this is really cool. What a
What a
joy
great
to have you on.
conversation. I know.
You're a total delight, and it's wonderful the work that you're doing. And I can just imagine how many people are going to feel more secure and confident about how they love and how they feel about their body and how they even talk to themselves in their own head, because we can be so critical when we don't like our body.
Can I tell
It can
you?
be so healing, this type of process and procedure.
One more thing. Go for
I've
it.
had men that have come in here and they've had the procedure done, and then they come back 3 months later and they say, "You will not believe what this has done, not just for my sex life, my relationship with my
My
partner,
confidence.
but in my everyday life,
Yeah.
with my friends.
Yeah.
Big dick energy is real."
Yeah.
And
Right.
and men say, "I've gotten a promotion. I've been
Uh-huh.
rejuvenated in my company that was stagnant for years, and
Yes.
and I'm dating again, and and I'm
Yes.
having more sex, and I'm happy to take my clothes off now. I used to like always want to be in a dark room, or
Yeah.
it really does change so much upon a man, and I've always loved working in aesthetics, but this is particularly
So rewarding. Yeah.
rewarding having the aesthetic change that is undetectable and really looks good, but also just the stories that you hear about
Change.
the changes that you make in someone's life.
Ugh, love that. Thank you so much for the work you're doing. We had so much fun with you today.
Yeah, this has been fun. I hope that I do come back and see you sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, of course, anytime. So, y'all, the show's not over. We still got the dish with me and Dr. Willow, so don't go anywhere. Again, thank you so much, William.
Thank you.
Now, our favorite part, the dish.
Well, dish time.
I love William more. I love what he's doing. I love the way his mind works. I love anyone who thinks really big picture. I feel like he's a big picture kind of thinker, and that's his. And then all his, work within Medi spas over the years, and then learning about how to create this PhalloFILL and the sleeve. That's such a crucial piece. I think that, yeah, I just love the way his mind works. Love his brain. Cool guy.
Yeah, I also am really touched by his willingness and his bravery to speak about his own insecurities and what led him, on a personal note, to be interested in penis enhancement, because that's a really sensitive topic, and it's a rare man who would talk about that publicly.
Absolutely. I mean, and all the things he went through to figure out the best plan forward,
Yeah.
with his own penis.
And I think too, when you think about breast augmentation, a lot of women who've had breast augmentation don't really try to hide it, or pretend like
No, they want to flaunt it, actually.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't always that way. We've had friends who've had breast augmentation, and they would swear a friend to secrecy that they had it, and then did big betrayal when that friend told somebody else. And
I never had that experience with anyone. You did?
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Early on?
Yeah. No. There's lots of women. So I'm just saying, I like that he brought up that comparison.
Yeah.
we don't look at that as a big deal anymore. So
Right.
what, you get enhancement here and there. It's becoming very, very normalized, and I think that's really great. I think whatever you're going to do that makes you feel good about being in your own skin, you should be
Do it.
liberated. Fucking go for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I've
agree.
spoke on here how going through all the body drama that I've had over the years, and times that I felt really unsupported regarding the lengths of which I needed to go in order to heal parts of that for myself, are choices a lot of people would frown upon. Would go, why can't you just do it naturally? Well, I don't know, because I couldn't. Spent 20 years trying.
Right. Exactly.
And
Right.
yeah, so there could be just so much shame around wanting to be different than the way you are and pursuing
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. I mean, and there's so much, societal pressure, and this is what's beautiful, and this is what's hot, and the cock should be this size, and breast should be that size, and waist should be looking like this, and it's really it's in our faces and in our heads on such a constant, consistent level that it's hard when we're swimming in water. It's hard not to get wet, so we all are sitting with this consciousness that we're supposed to look a certain way, that sex is supposed to sound a certain way and act out a certain way, and it really takes away from what's authentically true for us. And also, there's discomfort in the body, that there's pain, and there's things that go on in the body when we're different sizes and shapes. And so I really think there are so many wonderful things these days that can help us find the body that works for us, that makes us feel confident out in the world, because that's the world we're living in. We're swimming in the water. And also that make us feel good as far as our flexibility, our strength, and our ability to move around in our bodies.
Yeah.
These are our vehicles. Let's do what we need to do to take care of them.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I used to have some judgment on breast augmentation because I'm such a naturalist, as y'all know. But I mean, over the years, I just applaud women. I'm like, good job. God bless. Good for you. You got what you needed and you look great, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm such a supporter of, just people getting to the point that they're going to feel like they can walk more authentically and more confidently through the world, because the world is fucked up and it is.
Yeah.
Like, we need to feel good in these vehicles.
Yeah. I hope more and more people are becoming less judgmental of other people who choose to modify their body in ways that feel right to them. And naturally, I also don't want to like also just diminish that there are ways that people go too far in their search for perfection, and they're actually doing their body harm,
Right.
and their minds, and things start to become more pathological and stuff.
It's all should be in balance. Yeah. It all should be in balance. Yeah. I was I liked to slip in the peptide thing in there because I'm using peptides. I'm using bioidentical hormones. Those things are working for me at this point in my life.
And things that 5 years ago you probably would have never.
No, definitely not
toted.
5 years ago. I was like, but they are still like natural things, naturally occurring in nature and whatever. Not that I, again, there's my old
qualifying
my old judger.
It's only okay if it's natural.
Totally. But yeah, I think, I'm just geeked out on helping people find their right weight and find their right chemistry of their hormones these days, because it changes everything in your life, not only your body and how you feel walking around, but it changes your mind, it changes your spirit, it changes your heart, and it gives you a lot more availability to be in presence with the people that you are encountering in your life. And that's what we're always teaching in Tantra Camp, is like how to be like how to open your capacity for more joy and pleasure and whatever's coming through, how to be more available and more present.
I also really like that we touched about the whole hair loss thing. I thought that was really interesting and would love to learn even more about that. So gosh, and I really just liked who William was. I just enjoyed his that got that Dallas thing going on. And was just so open and generous with his time. I know we spent a lot more than just an hour with him, and I want to watch his movie. Like,
oh, I can't wait to watch his movie. Can't wait to. Also, just so you all know, we had to start the recording with William Moore 3 different times because of internet issues and tech issues. And he was gracious.
And we rescheduled him like 5 times over a year.
Yeah, every time. He's been so gracious. Like, what a saint.
I was really impressed by like, you can get that much girth. Like, you keep getting this treatment and you can get fuller and fuller. I think it was more than an inch.
2 inch. Well, an inch was like the first, 4 treatments, I think it was. It's like a quarter of an inch for each treatment.
Wild.
I know. I wonder what that feels like.
But then, like, how does the head look if you're only putting volume in the shaft?
Well, a lot of times heads are more of a mushroom top anyway, so they're bigger than the shaft anyway. So maybe it just looks a little bit more like a full cylinder in the end. For most men, but I mean, every man's different. Every penis looks so different. So,
God, I cannot wait to see the before and afters. I am going to go look. Yes,
in his
I'm so
documentary.
Curious. No, it's also on his website.
Oh yeah, on the website. Right.
Yeah. So if you're looking, we always add you guys so many links and so many resources to all of our show notes. Like, I really make an effort. I want you to know I make a big effort on making things available.
Links.
So if you think you heard something really interesting and you want to fall back on that, like, I got you covered. You got to go to our website where we put a blog post on the episode, an audio file for the episode, and the video file of the episode. So you can read, watch, or listen to it in any medium that you want. And that's where you can always find the links. And if you are listening to us on, like, let's say, Spotify or Apple, or you're watching us on YouTube, the link to find those links is always in the show notes in the description of the episode. So please
go get
hook yourself up. Yeah, I got you.
So
I got coupon codes for you, all sorts of cool shit.
Leah's looking out for you guys. Yeah, exactly. All right. Much love.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and we will
And
see you on
share.
the flip side.
Ciao,
Love, love,
ciao.
love.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.